All right, this is Patrick Rogers, and today we have the privilege to have Oscar Klassen on the show. And Oscar is the CEO and co-founder of Jawstech Incorporated. Welcome to the show, Oscar.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so a little bit about Oscar. He lives in Aberdeen, Idaho, and as he'll share with you, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. But Oscar is a young CEO, 27 years old. Okay, looking to keep improving and pushing the limits on what he believes is possible. That's always great to hear. Helping people with their manufacturing needs, specifically in additive, 3D printing, and manufacturing space, with superior technology and software over their competitors. They focus on lead time, customer service, and cost. And he actually co-founded Jawstech in 2017. So, Oscar, I can't wait to dig into your journey. Being that young of a CEO and co-founder, you're doing some pretty awesome stuff. You're definitely lots of stuff for other people to learn from. Before we get to it, though, what's one interesting fact about yourself that not many people know?
One interesting fact that I've got is I was a high jumper in high school, and I'm only 6 foot tall.
Only 6 foot.
Yeah, so I would say that's short for it being a high jumper. But
okay.
Yeah, won state my sophomore, junior year, and then pulled my hamstring senior year.
Oh,
Able to do it there. So yeah.
Wow.
But love the sport.
So,
yeah.
So what was your highest jump?
I jumped 6'7", so just over 2 meters. So
wow. Yeah. Okay, so is that the form that you're using? Was that like the
Fosbury flop?
The Fosbury flop from Oregon, right? Okay.
Yeah. That is exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And so what is the average height of somebody who's doing high jumping?
Oh,
6 is short.
Most of the people I was going against. So I jumped 6'7" in high school, pulled my hamstring, and then went to college and did it a little bit. Wasn't able to get back to form. But gotcha. Most of the kids I was going up against, it was 6'6" to 6'8". Jumped against a 7 foot guy. That's just
wow.
As soon as you get into the
whole other level,
everyone is just giant. So I felt pretty good jumping 7 inches over my head, and so yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Well, so curious though, before we leave it at that, you were only 6 foot. Like, how did you get into high jumping when it's historically known for people that are much taller than you?
Yeah, so I'm from a small school, and so we didn't really have many kids that were doing it.
They didn't have anybody else do it. They're like, I pulled the last freaking straw. Shit.
Pretty much. So freshman year, there was a good senior high jumper, so I was like, oh, I'll shadow him, see what I can do. Ended up beating him at the district meet that year, which I hadn't ever jumped high jump that year, or haven't ever jumped high jump before that point. So I managed to beat him. He was a little frustrated at that, but then I really started to enjoy it. Started to put a lot more time and effort into it, and then won it my sophomore year, won it my junior year. Sophomore year I was going against some really good kids. Cool. I just managed to hold them out, and so I was this short guy standing up there, and these 6'4" guys right next to me. So as we're standing on the podium, we're all about the same height, but I'm on the largest block. So
right. Okay.
And then junior year wasn't as much competition that year, so won it fairly easy. And then senior year, I was 4 or 5 inches above everyone else. And then just before districts, I pulled my hamstring. So I was I had the highest high jump, fastest 110 time, fastest 300 meter hurdle time, and then was on a relay race. So I was looking for four firsts, and it didn't work.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that winning mentality is part of what's made you so successful in the business world. So speaking of, tell us about Jawstech and walk it through this journey, how you 6 years ago at the age of 21, 22, co-founded this company.
Yeah. So we started working at a agricultural drone company. And we started delving into the 3D printing aspect of what newer technology was coming out. So it was focused on quality of 3D printing parts in an industrial machine, reducing weight, more customization. There was a lot of really cool nuances with the stuff that we started to produce. And so we went and purchased a printer to help sustain that growth on the drone side. and then when using it for another recreational company in the snowmobile side-by-side industry. So that's what really sustained us to begin to get into the 3D printing aspect.
Okay.
We couldn't fill up that printer completely, so we ended up building out a website and creating an online quote engine, and then partnering with a couple other companies that were providing that same service but didn't have the printing capacity. So we kind of partnered to fill that machine up. And then from there, it kind of turned into, okay, well, actually, this is a good business opportunity. I'm going to split from the drone side and begin this manufacturing journey. So I knew nothing about manufacturing.
Wow.
I didn't know anything about 3D printing. I didn't start 3D printing in my garage or anything like that. It just was kind of like, oh, opportunity, let's run with it. So now at this point in time, we've got 8 industrial machines on site on the MJF 3D printing side, and then 8 SLS machines. And so those are just 2 different types of the manufacturing methods we use. But then we provide parts for nylon materials, polypropylene, TPU, kind of a wide variety of different stuff, different applications, whether it be medical, automotive, even food production and stuff like that. So that's kind of where we've split out into a massive ability to provide for many different industries. And so we've just steadily grown in that portion. Initially, it was just myself and the machine. So I've done each and every process in this whole company.
So no one's pulling any wool over your eyes?
Yeah, exactly. So slowly building the leadership team around myself, bringing on more individuals. So right now we're about a team of 25 people.
Fantastic.
So yeah, roughly 5 years of growth, getting up to that level. So that was really good. And we just keep on improving our profitability, and that's kind of our main focus. Obviously, the manufacturing industry is very aggressive and intense. And so one of the things we were told, especially when we started getting into CNC, was congratulations, you found the only industry that's harder than restaurants.
Yeah, yeah,
and
great.
So that scared us. That was a little bit of a concern. That being said, being the new manufacturing method, we're able to provide a more valuable product and can then frankly charge more for it because of that. You can get completely customized when you're talking about additive manufacturing. There's no design limitations, or at least far less than most processes. Injection molding, you have got the mold that has to come apart, and cooling and all these other things. CNC, you've only got a straight angle in most cases, so you've got to be able to design for those processes. With additive, you can make a spatula, a nice rounded thing, and just send it to print, and it prints out just fine. So that's kind of the nuances of it. And we definitely see a customization protocol with a lot of the manufacturing we're doing. It's not just one-offs or mass production. We fit right in the small to medium production, where you've got a customized knee brace. You've got a unique drone design. That really is our perfect opportunity to manufacture for companies.
Got it. Yeah, so very precise, small. So how do you, there's 3D companies, additive manufacturing, popping up all over the place. I know we didn't really talk about this necessarily, but how are you strategically positioning yourself in Jawstech to compete and differentiate yourself?
Yeah, the ease of purchasing from us is massive. So we try to make it as easy as possible. We've got an online quote engine where you drag and drop your CAD model into. It spits out a quote in half a second. You can select which material, color, finish you want. You click purchase. We'll send it to your doors in as fast as 2 days. So
really,
we make it easy. And so the idea behind that is, obviously Amazon has the one-tap buy. We wanted to make it as few taps as possible to purchase your created model. So you're a designer, you're working at a company, you're a mechanical engineer, product developer, whoever you are. I need this product in my hand in a high usable fashion. And that's where these industrial machines come in. You can print it on the desktop printer, but it is not going to put out the quality or the requirements that that project is going to need for manufacturing or production run, whereas these printers will. And so that's where we are stepping in and saying, this is a usable product that you can send to your customers, and they're not even going to know it's 3D printed. Quite a lot of them like to know it's 3D printed because it's such a cool,
it's the newest, latest,
to it. Yeah. And so you're willing to provide a premium for that product.
Gotcha. So how do you, like, just out of curiosity, like when you're walking through the process, they're uploading some kind of a drawing and you're getting a quote for them. Isn't there a lot of design and design modifications you have to do in engineering in support of them being able to produce a product through your machinery?
No, not really.
Really?
On the additive side, it is very forgiving.
Wow.
That being said, we do have minimum requirements. So like wall thickness, you need to try to have a model above a 1 millimeter wall thickness.
Cool. Okay.
And that's going to produce a better part. Can we print less than that? Yes. But when we go to clean it, it could break out. And so now that's more difficult. Like if you were to print the knife edge of trying to get that super fine, it's going to crack and it's going to break a little bit because you can't go down to 0. And so little things like that, you just kind of have to design around. So it takes a little bit of knowledge, but to get started in it, we can print it and we can make it really easy for individuals in that sense.
Very cool. Very cool. And I know in our pre-call, we had talked about what some of the keys to your success, and it was really revolved around getting the right people on the bus and in the right seat. Tell us more about how you've done that, especially at such a young age. I mean, that's a pretty mature thing for a young CEO.
Yeah, I've definitely had a lot of support around me. The original board members were key reason why I got into the space and how I was wanting to go about developing myself as the CEO, as well as growing the business here. So one of the key things they said is having the right people on the bus and having them in the right seat. So that is something I've tried to uphold in any hiring that we do, any individual that comes on, make sure they are properly trained, make sure their expectations are clear, and make sure they're properly motivated. And so if any of those 3 things start to fail, that falls on me, and I need to try to improve that. As soon
once again, trained,
expectations set, and motivated.
Got it.
Cool. And I can't take credit for that. That is from a individual called Alex Hermosi.
Oh, Alex Hermosi's my man.
Yes. So he has that portion. It was some of his earlier work. And so that is a phenomenal thing that I've tried to take in every situation here. It is on me to make sure those 3 categories are fitting properly here. If I can improve those 3 categories, then they're not the right person, and then they get kicked. And that's where I struggle. I think the most is my failure as a CEO has been being able to move on from individuals or not take it personal. I really hate firing people, and I have to get better at that because it should not be a bad situation. We should both improve from the aspect of moving on from someone. I hope they learned something from being here, but they're not the right fit. Let's move on. You can go improve your life, and we're going to try to here. So,
well, it's tough, when how you're raised and just your personality type, you want to see the best in people. You want to believe that they have the right intentions, but sometimes it's just not a good fit. And the best, and this is one of the things that hit me, is that they're in agony too. They're just not admitting it, and nobody, they're scared. They're scared they're going to lose their job. They're in agony. They're not enjoying it either. And it's almost like when you make that change, it's like a breath of fresh air for them. But if you're doing it, I'll say, in a loving way, you're doing it in a caring way. You're not just saying, get the fuck out, right? I mean, maybe help them find a new job that's better suited for them. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that would be the ideal situation, is if I can move them on to a better opportunity somewhere else, that's a win-win for both of us. So
love it. Yeah, awesome. So another thing you had talked about was never being satisfied with your beliefs or your current knowledge.
Yeah. I want to keep learning and keep developing my knowledge for sure. There's a key aspect to as we get bigger in size, and I'm doing less and less of the day-to-day. So I'm not fulfilling the customer order. I'm not having to be on customer contact calls, not having to get the sales for the customers anymore.
Right.
That's allowed me a lot more time to work on the business rather than in it. And that's one thing that I've tried to do, is back away from the day-to-day process so we can keep growing as a company. And a portion of that would be allocating at least some of the resources that the company has to increasing my knowledge about other companies out there, new ways to organize and structure, systemization, what things do I need to know about AI coming out? How can we benefit Jawstech in a way that is going to move it in the direction that everyone wants? So I would say I've read a lot more books than I ever did in high school or anything like that. And that would be a key portion.
You're passionate about it.
Just being have that desire to learn. I have not implemented the books as well as I wanted. So that's something that I would like to improve at. So.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can only do so much, right? I mean, you read, that's the thing, is like, you know, some of the best CEOs, they read one book a week, right? There's no way to put everything in place, but I'm sure you have some kind of a system. You're like, hey, I want to do this. And you do that. If you do one thing from every book you read, like, that's pretty good in my opinion.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. And the other thing we kind of talked about was find a problem that you want to change and focus on.
Yeah. I think most people get distracted with the next cool thing. Steve Jobs has a quote that said, success is being able to say no to truly phenomenal ideas.
Yes.
Which I think that's really a beneficial thing to understand, is that, yes, that sounds like a great idea. Apple could go and sell peanut butter and do a phenomenal job, but is that what they should be doing? No. So I think that's the situation, is, okay, what are we doing good at? And focus on that. Yeah, we could go and get into injection molding right now and just grow our injection molding clients. But most of our revenue is coming through 3D printing. So why would we flip the script on everything Jawstech is doing? Let's do what we do and do it good. And then we'll see that growth. So, yeah.
So it's kind of that focus. And how many, what's your annual revenue now? About where you guys at?
Right now we're sitting about 5 million.
Nice. Congratulations, man. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's next for you guys? What's the next big push?
Yeah, so right now we're working a lot on our software side. I mentioned kind of the instant quoting engine that we have. And so improving that, as well as the back end portion, is a large push for us. So we've got two computer science engineers here. We're looking to grow that team up and kind of optimize our production flow here, and really see if we can just strive for better customer support and service across the board, whether that's getting products or just communicating better with them. So hopefully we can really improve. Obviously, the lead time portion is a very important thing for us. Customers need their parts quickly. And so if we can be consistently doing better than we say, that's where I want to get to, is we say 4 days or 3 days and we ship it the day before that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're exceeding expectations. You're doing Amazon, and you're using technology to get there versus necessarily people, which is a sign of the most the best companies with the best efficiencies and margins.
Yeah, exactly right. So.
Fantastic, man. I love it. So let me ask a question. If you were going to hire a CEO to take the reins for your company, what's the one book, Oscar, that you would require he or she read before they take over for you? And why?
I would probably say Think and Grow Rich at this point in time.
Okay.
I really like that. The other one would be Blue Ocean Strategy. I do really enjoy that book too.
Very
there's
cool.
Kind of a wide variety, because there's The Goal by Elihu Goldratt too, which is manufacturing focused.
Okay.
And so I know I just gave 3 right there, but actually I'd probably say The Goal. If we
The
would
goal,
really
okay. What's
dial it down, it probably has to be the goal.
give us the abridged version of why you say the goal. Tell us about
Yeah,
this
so it's about a plant manager in a failing plant for CNC manufacturing of specific parts. And his goal is to make money for the company. That's the end goal. But all the metrics he has are incorrect. So they're measuring efficiencies and stuff like that. And every time they try to increase their efficiencies, profit goes down. And so he has a full shift of mindset, and that is purely a focus on throughput. So my machines are here. They have to produce. Let's make them produce as much as possible. And so it's finding your bottlenecks. It's allocating resources properly. It's moving your quality control system around to better allocate all your resources. So it's a phenomenal book, and it really focuses in on what a manufacturing company is doing, and that is pushing parts out the door. And other than that, that's the main focus. So it's a great book for at least our industry that we're in.
Yeah. Really, could anybody in any kind of manufacturing, whether subtractive or additive, benefit from it?
Yes, for sure. In fact, cool. I think Jeff Bezos' reading requirement for all their managers, I think the goal is right? On that list. So
okay,
yeah,
awesome,
so
very
it's
cool.
a good book.
Cool. Well, Oscar, let me take a few minutes here and just kind of summarize some of my key takeaways. One is that you guys differentiate, really kind of going along with the whole Amazon concept, making it super easy for people to purchase from you. Online quoting engine, 2 days delivered, whatever. The other was getting the right people. And I think this is really cool. I didn't know this about Alex Hormozy, is the 3 things your role as a CEO is to make sure they're trained, proper expectations, and that they're motivated. The other is, really focus on backing away from the day-to-day operations. Put people who are better at each specific thing in there so you can focus on higher level strategy, whatever that is, taking the company to the next level. And that's fantastic. And the last one I thought was a great one. It was that people get too distracted too often. The squirrel, right? Shiny penny going over this direction versus just focusing on one problem, fixing it, and doing it really, really well. So I love that. Oscar, let me ask if there was one key or one takeaway that you'd really want the audience to absorb from our time together today. What would that be?
Yeah, I would say always look to improve yourself. I would say that is the most beneficial investment you can make in anything, is increasing your knowledge, increasing your understanding, your capability. There's a whole thing about leverage. Increase your leverage. And if you know more than the person sitting next to you, you don't have to tell them, but you've got a better understanding than them. So that's definitely.
Got it. Awesome. Well, Oscar, if any of our listeners want to reach out, maybe for any questions, or if they have a product that they'd like to have 3D printed and manufactured, what's the best way they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can either go to our website at jawstech.com, which is just JAWSTEC.com. Check out our instant quote engine, or you can find our contact us page on that. And from there, you can email us at info@Jawstech, and hopefully we can help you out in whatever projects are coming down the line.
Awesome. Oscar, great to have you on. 27-year-old CEO, kicking ass, taking names, $5 million company, and growing every year. So thanks for being on the show, man. This was fantastic.
I appreciate it. Thanks again, Patrick. This was awesome.
You bet. And for the listeners, please hit the like and subscribe button and help us spread the word about what we're doing. We're helping the next generation of CEOs and leaders be that much more successful. With that, this is your host, Patrick Rogers, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thanks a lot.